And then I will share my screen. And you guys should now be seeing that we're going to read chapter 4, mathematical functions, characters and strings. And we've got 3 programs here. The first one is to check whether or not somebody enters a valid social security number. Okay. Not only do you have to check it for 11 characters, you need to check that the dashes are in the right place. So let's say you had a social security number that's 222-33-4444. It has to meet that requirement. Okay. So when we do this, what you need to know, one thing is that the first character is 0. Okay. The first character starts at 0. It doesn't start at 1. So if you say that a character is at 0, so then 0, 1, 2 would be the first 3 numerals. They're not digits, remember. They're not numbers that we're going to do math with. Then we have to have a dash at number, what is it? At 3. Then 4 and 5 would be 2 more digits. 6 would be another dash. And then 7 through the rest would be for those. Again, if you know how to do loop, you can't use a loop yet. Okay. So that's that one, the basics of that one. The 3-city sort. And again, no matter how big I put, however, the sorting should not depend on the case of the letters. Every semester, I'd say a third of the students lose points because of that. Java takes into account the difference between uppercase and lowercase. Okay. And how that works is this. I'm going to bring up a spreadsheet just because it's easy for me to show you on that, or easier. So I'll just move over here. So when we first started doing, or people started using computers, we needed some way to represent letters. Okay, again, you have to understand it's a binary system, right? So the only 2 digits we get are 0 and 1. That's it. We get zeros and ones. I'm going to check this. Oh, come on. So I get zeros and ones. So we needed a way to represent letters. So this is what we came up with, okay? So I'm going to show you what a capital letter A looks like. It's a 1, and then let's see, that's 64, 32, 16s, 8s, 4s, 2s, and 1s. Okay? So that's base 2. Okay? So again, base 2 is just like our numbering system, except you only have 2 digits. So if you're going to count, you'd do 0, 1, okay? Then 1, 0, then 1, 1, then 1, 0, 0. So like 1, 0, 0 is 4, equivalent to decimal 4. So this number here is equal to 65 in base 10. Because if you look here, this would be our 1s, 2s, 4s, 8s. Let's see, 1s, 2s, 4s, 8s, 16s, 32, 64. So I have 164 and 1, 1. Okay. So that adds up to 65. Okay, so that's in base 10, the decimal system. Okay, so then somebody says, okay, we're going to use 65 is an uppercase A. Okay, 65 is an uppercase A. So B would be 66, et cetera, et cetera. Up until, what is it, 90? So that's uppercase. So then we used uppercase just for a while. In fact, when I started in communications, we typed on typewriters that didn't have any lowercase letters, teletypes that didn't have lowercase. All we had was uppercase. The uppercase letter or of the letters were numbers. So again, so this is 65 here. Okay. And so on. And how many letters in the alphabet? Anybody? I know some of you probably didn't go to a public school and know.
26.
26, right? So if I add 26 to 65, okay, you get 91. And you would think, okay, at 91, we start the lowercase letters. Well, that didn't happen. What they said instead was this. As a computer, this is what a computer guy would think. What we're going to do, because these are just, okay, these numbers represent circuits being on and off. So when the circuit is open in the ones and the 64, that's an A. All these part of the circuit are closed. So what they said we'll do, let's just, instead of counting the 26, we'll just turn on the 32-bit. So we get 1 1 0 0 0 0 1. Okay. That's base 2, which is equal to 97 base 10. Okay. And that becomes a lowercase a. So it starts at 97. And then our B would be, of course, 98 and so on and following. All right. So since Java does differentiate between an uppercase a and a lowercase a, the lowercase a is always a higher number than the uppercase a. Okay. And all the numbers between 91 and 97 are used up by some punctuation. For example, here, a space is equal to 32. And the numbers are down in the 50s, I think. The digits, 0, 1, 2, all those are down there. And this system is called ASCII. And these are, and it's pronounced ASCII, like that. And it stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. And that's how most computers, if you say plain text, okay, if you're talking plain text, that's what we're talking about. So almost all computers can read plain text. In other words, ASCII. It's very simplistic. So now, if I'm going to sort something, in other words, if I type in Doug, and then I type in Doug, and then I type in Doug, Which one's going to be at the top? Oops, my second one didn't do what I wanted.
The one that is capital D, capital I.
Why does it keep doing that? Keeps converting it. I don't know why. Let's do it this way. Okay. So depending on how we sort, if we're going to sort from smallest to largest, okay. So if we do this, and then we go to data, I think there's a sort here somewhere. Maybe not. Oh yeah. Column A, cell values. Yeah. We get that. And then if I put what do I want to put here? I don't know why it's doing that to me today.
You might be able to hit undo to undo the auto format.
Yeah. It's because this one says Doug like that, I think. Oh, well. Anyway, the scenario is basically this. If it has a small letter, that's a higher number. So if I sorted this C to A, you get that. And that's wrong, by the way. So this isn't working like Java would, because if it was sorting it by numerically, by this one should be at the top, because this number is, what is it, 101, and this number is only 71, I believe, or not even that. It's 69. This is 101, et cetera, et cetera. So it should be sorting this one at the top. The small letter one should be up here if we're, long story short, when you go to sort these cities, okay, how I check it, I'm going to type in something like this. I'm going to type in, I don't know, probably Chicago, Atlanta, and Boston, like that. Or no, I know what I do. Hang on. We'll make this ATL. And then this one, Chicago. And I type that in, and I want it to end up with Atlanta, Boston, Chicago. Okay. If you don't ignore the case, it's not going to sort like that. It's going to sort just the way it is now, because this capital letter C is a lot lower number than this capital letter or small letter B down here. So going back over here, that's the key on this one. And we're going to look at that in a minute. And then we're going to do this program right here. This one looks like it has a bunch of stuff to do. So if we look at the text in chapter 4, okay, it starts out with all the different mathematical functions. I already introduced the random one, but if you're into trigonometry, the exponent one is a good one to know. It's on 123. down below 4.2 exponent methods, you can see you can do square roots, powers. Again, Java doesn't have an exponent operator like the other languages do. So if you're going to do more than square a number or that, I would go ahead and use the POW, okay, is what I normally do. So where the A is where you would put, what do you, let's say you had pi to the radius squared, the A would be your radius, and then the B, you'd put a 2 in there, and that would be radius squared. And I use that one quite a bit. You can do square roots there if you're doing like uh, hypothesis. No, not the hypothesis. The
Hypotenuse.
what?
Hypotenuse.
Yeah, the hypotenuse. Sorry, of a rectangle. So that's available. Then rounding. You know, I try to stay away from it. I try to do it myself. I'll just be honest with you. You can write your own algorithm to handle any type of rounding. Okay. Minimum, maximum, if you need them, absolute value. Okay. You could have used that absolute value in your program on the X and Y axis, rectangle program. If you did use it, I'm not going to knock you for it. But if you know how to use absolute numbers, you could have done that. We've already talked about random. Okay. So that's in there. The next part, character data type and operations, starts on 126. We've got chars, and we're going to use those a lot when we get to repetition. Okay. And then it talks about what I just told you about ASCII code. Okay. Talks about that. And escape sequences, I think I showed you a couple, like the /T for tab. That's on 128. So we can print things. We can put in tabs. We can put in a line feed. We can do whatever. We want to type a backslash. There's a special way to do that. Same thing if you want to type a double quote in your print statement, you have to know how to escape that. Basically, the escape character is just a backslash. You put that in front of certain characters so that you can print those characters. Okay. 130, here's one that is very usable. These are the characters. It's character dot. You type character dot, and then you can determine whether or not it's a digit. Is it a letter? Is it a letter or a digit? That would leave only that would leave punctuation. You can say, is it lowercase? Is it uppercase? Et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Which those help. But if we swing over to, I'm trying to find the one. There's another one here. It's a 120. Pairing strings. Maybe it's that one. Oh, yeah, there it is. So it goes on about string length. You can get the length of any string. Oh, that might become in handy when I try to figure out, is there 11 characters in my social security number? Okay. Is there? And then look, there's a character at. Okay, so I can use that for my social security number. Okay. Comparing strings. Okay. So when I compare two strings, let's say Is Doug equal to Doug, where one is spelled correctly and the other one's spelled correctly with the top? We don't put if Doug is equal to Doug, or if true, or if if social security number is equal to social security number, or something like that. We use the word equals. So you type the string dot equals, and then it uses two parens, and you put in what is it equal to. Well, you can also use equals ignores case. So here you got three cities being put in, and you can ignore the case. So on page 135. So I would say you definitely want to look at 135 before you go ahead and do the three city sort. There's an example of a two city sort on 136. So here you have where it's pretty close to what you need to do. You can convert numbers into strings and strings into numbers. So if you take a number in, you could take it in as a string. That way, no matter what they type, your program wouldn't crash because anything can be stored in a string. Then you could try and convert it into a number by using the parse. Uh, let's say it's an integer, you would use integer dot parse integer and then the string. And then if that comes back um, that you can't do that, then of course it would crash at that time. But in reality, we're going to do all that in our next lesson. Okay, guessing birthdays, we don't need to know about that. Lottery, we don't need to know that. Over on 147, we're going to use this today. It's the printf. And on page 147, there's all the format specifiers that we can use. In other words, we will use %D if it's an integer, %F if it's floating point. I'm not going to use scientific notation. %S if it's a string. And we use the print statement instead of print ln, we're going to use printf to do those, and it'll be, you'll have, your stuff will start looking nicer. And that's basically the chapter. Okay. So make sure you read over it. There's a lot of just little, it's a bunch of small little tips, let's put it that way, on how to do things, especially with strings. The number ones are just the math dot functions that you can use if you're doing mathematical equations outside of the normal arithmetic stuff. Okay. So make sure you read that, try and get a handle on it, practice it, see what happens when you do it. Some of it's pretty interesting, and it'll definitely make your stuff look better. Okay. So do that. Actually, pick up the book. Better than a pillow. Okay. All right. So let's program something. We're going to program the financial or the payroll program. Okay. So what I'm looking for here is something that would be like if you had a job and they were going to go ahead and turn in your weekly payroll and you're going to get a check stub. So we're basically going to create a check stub. Okay. I'm going to need this info right here. I'm going to copy this. I think that's all I need. All right. Let's fill the screen. And it's going to be a new project. Of course, it's an ant. And we'll just call it Payroll Calculator. I have the 12-week class running now too. So now I got 3 sections of Java running. It's kind of crazy. 2 more besides you guys. All right. So we got project. And of course, you know, Doug, it's the Acme Payroll Calculator program. You all know where the Acme thing comes from, the Roadrunner cartoons, right? Coyote's always buying something from Acme to try and catch like rocket skates or a catapult or something. And this is payroll calculator .java. And the date today is the lovely date of the 15th. Did anybody get any Valentines? So today is 15 February 2021. I'm the author. And the purpose is to create a program where user inputs the hours they worked in a week and their rate of pay. Okay. And let's see what happens if I control V in. Okay. So here's some rules. We'll just kind of move them over. Do, 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 do. Create a program where the user inputs a root and their rate of pay. Okay, and then I'm going to add here the output should be an itemized listing of gross minus the deductions giving the net pay. And then we got our little list there so we can see it and not have to go back and forth. So that's what we're shooting for there. As before, we know if it says we got to get something from the user, we need to import our Java utility. And I'll wait a second here and see if I can get it so it doesn't lock me up. No, no. There's something in my system that always does that. I have to sit and wait, and now it's going to put abstract collection in there when I click on here to cancel that, and then I have to go back in.
How old is your computer?
Oh, it's a it's a Core 5 with like a huge amount of memory, and
What?
I know it's an 8th generation Intel Core 5. I have no idea. Don't even.
I was gonna say that's like close to my specs, and I don't get the lag at all.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why it is on this one. ICC, of course, provides all my goodies for me for nothing. Well, I have to work there. I guess that's something. For the most part, they take pretty good care of me because I'm like the test dummy. Like if because normally I need the stuff that is pretty new versus somebody like teaching geometry or geography or something like that, whose stuff doesn't have to be up to. So I usually get a pretty good, and it's the story downstairs is if Doug can't break it, it's probably okay because most of the time I'm the one that's breaking stuff. All right. So there we go. As far as our little shell, or what do you want to call it here, our little template. That's pretty good. Nice and clean, indentation. We like that. First thing, let's go ahead and instantiate our um, scanner. So I'm going to scanner user in. Again, you can make it whatever you want. User con. User con is another favorite of mine. So if I use for user console, so I'll use that today. And that's so it's a new scanner. And again, where's it getting it from? It's getting it from the system in, which is my keyboard. So there it is. Now I instantiate an object. Now I can use its methods to get the data, depending on what I want. Okay. So let me see here. What do I want? Let's go ahead and create a string name, and it'll be equal to a user con, just plain old next. So that's what I use to get a string. And then I'll have uh, what am I going to do for the number of hours? What data type am I going to use?
And
Int. Okay. So you're going to you're going to let the company cheat you out. If you have to work 8.5 hours a day, you're giving them a half hour.
depends if I own the company or not.
Yeah, who's advantage? So what are we really going to use?
Double.
Yeah. So this is going to be just say hours worked, and it's going to be a user con next double. Jeez, older I get, I'm just wondering if I'm going to be able to type. So this is going to be total number of hours worked. And then the other input, there's only two, I guess this will be three inputs. Itemize, so the name don't count. We'll just say the name doesn't count. Okay, so how about the pay rate? What data type? Somebody else?
Double.
Yep, it's another double. And so I'm going to make this called pay rate. And it'll be user con dot next double. I'll make it standard. Jeez. Okay, so there's all my inputs, except for I need at least one constant. Anybody know what the constant is? Oh, there's more than one now that I think about it. There's like 5 constants. What are they? One, two, three, four, 5. I can think of 5. Oh, I'm going to have to start picking names.
Tax rates.
Yeah, all the tax rates are going to be some of them. Okay. The first one I'm going to do though is this is final, and it's a double, and it's going to be, oh no, let's see, will it be a double? No, it won't. It'll be an integer, int, and I'm going to put I'm going to call it standard hours, and it's going to be worth 40. And then I'm going to have one called, and it's going to be a double, and it's going to be OT factor. And my OT factor is going to be 1.5. And then let's see, what else do I need here? Okay, so and then I'm going to say final FICA tax. And on that one, we can just do, you can just type FICA, or I think I'm going to use FICA. Yeah, I'll just use FICA. So it's going to be final double FICA is equal to the 7.65. So that's 0.0765. Okay. And then final double state is going to be equal to 2.02. And then final double fed, we'll make it federal. It's going to be equal to 0.18. Okay, so there's some of our constants that we need, right? They're constants. Why? Not because they're capitalized, but because of the word final, right? And that just means they're a named place in memory that can't change during the program. In other words, we can't say, okay, federal is going to be 20%. Okay. All right. So we've got our constants. Okay. So the first thing we're going to calculate is regular hours. Okay. Versus total hours. We got the hours worked. So now we need one for double. And I'm just going to call it reg hours. I don't know if I need to initialize that or not. Maybe not. And then if I've got regular hours, I need one for overtime. So I'm going to put OT hours. Okay. Then I need another one for double regular pay. And then I need one for OT pay. Okay. Then I would need one when I add the OT pay and the regular pay, I get my gross pay. Okay. Then I need one for FICA tax, the actual tax after we calculate it. I'll need one for state tax. I'll need one for double or for Fed tax. I'll need one for total deductions. And I'll need one for net pay. I think that's most of them.
You want to capitalize the T in OT pay?
Where did I do it?
Do you want to capitalize the T? I figured I'd say type it later.
The T where?
In OT pay, the double OT.
Not really. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. Just because it's short for overtime. So if I would have put overtime, that would have been all lowercase too. So would you have guys have done this? I mean, this is all stuff you need, okay? So again, it's real easy for me to do because I've done these so many times. But in reality, you need to, when you look at a problem that I give you, you should plan it out really. And back in the day when I had more time for you to do this, we had a whole class on just planning your program where you didn't even program a program until you took a class on flow charting and that. And you would plan out all your programs on paper, okay, before we even let you touch a computer. Well, times change, okay? I don't have the time to teach you flow charting and how to plan out your programs and such. I have to make an assumption that through what I show you that you're going to catch on, okay? So, but here again, when you look at this program, these are the things that I know when you think about a pay stub that are on a pay stub. And in fact, there's more stuff. We're not even talking about like donations, or you might have money going to a savings account, things like that. These are just basic things. Okay. FICA, of course, is your Social Security, where you pay this much and your employer has to pay this much into your Social Security. Okay. State tax, federal tax, those are just wild guesses on my part. Okay. In the real world, we would have a chart, and there are some programs in your book where you tell the book how much you're making, how many dependents you have, and then your program looks up the federal tax you would pay. But here we're just going to make it the same for everybody. All right. So there's that. Okay. So I've got my inputs. So now we need to, let's see, I did that. Oh, I never, geez. I gave you this up here, but I declared them. Let's get rid of, actually, we're going to get rid of this part because I already, um, these are just the declarations here. So we aren't doing the inputs yet. We need to have our cute little banner and all that stuff and some prompts. So go ahead and get rid of that and just leave the variables up there. And then we can come down here and do this, something like system.out.println. Then, I don't know, I might do something like that. I'll make it fancy schmancy or something. I don't know how close I'll be, but we'll try it. Okay, that's not far enough. Maybe something like that. I'll have to straighten this out. I know it's not going to even be close for some reason. But we'll see. And then I'm just going to copy that, Control C it, come down here, Control V it in. And I'm going to run it and see how bad that is. Yeah, see, that's crazy. Okay, so let's go ahead here and take a bunch of these out. I don't know why it can't be what you see is what you get. Not too bad. You still need to pull a couple. Oh, jeez. Now it'll be too close. Oh, that's perfect. Nice. All right, so I got my banner. And that lets me get my first prompt in here. So system.out.print. Enter the employee's name. And I'm not going to be specific, last name, first name, don't care at this point, just going to have a name. And then of course it'll be our user con, I think is what I used, right? Yep. So name is going to be equal to usercon.next. And under that, we'll have her out.print. And this one will be enter the, let's do this, print F. And then we'll say enter %sign S. And then, let's see here, comma S or so we got that, and then come at the end here and comma, and then name. And that variable is going to fill in this %sign S. So if I put in Doug up here, this is going to say enter Doug's hours worked. Okay. So this variable for this one was it just regular out? No. Hours worked. Yeah. User con dot next double. And then system dot out dot print F. Enter %sign S, comma S, rate of pay. And then that'll be comma, let's see here, comma name again. Oops. It's good. And then rate of pay, or pay rate, right? User con dot next double. And there's our inputs. So I'll save that and let's see if it'll, what it looks like. Okay, and I'll just put Doug. It says enter Doug's hours worked, and I put 50, let's say. And my rate of pay, 10 bucks an hour. And it seems to like that. But see how nice that looks? Very user friendly. Going in, the user knows what we're going to do. It's not like a mystery. Okay. So I think that's our, so though that finishes our inputs, I believe. So then we have processing or processes. Okay, so then we have regular hours. Okay, so we have if hours worked is less than or equal to, what did I have? Standard hours was 40, right? Yep. Okay, so if it's less than or equal to 40, then regular hours is equal to hours worked. So if they work 20 hours, see what I'm saying? So 20 is less than 40, then the regular hours worked would be the 20. If they worked 50 hours, so we're not handling that yet. Okay. So if they work 40 hours though, 40 hours is less than or equal to 40 hours, and then hours worked would be equal to regular hours. And we'll just put this in. OT hours would be set at 0. Okay. And that's a little redundant, but it's okay. Then we'd have else. Regular hours are going to be equal to standard hours. Because if it's more than 40, regular hours will be 40. And then OT hours would be equal to the hours worked minus standard hours. Okay. So if they work 50 hours, minus 40 gives them 10 hours of overtime. You with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So then once we have that, we can come down here and we can say that regular pay is equal to regular hours times pay rate, right? And then OT pay will be equal to OT pay, or I'm sorry, OT hours times OT factor times pay rate. All right. And then let's see, what are we going to do next? I think yeah. So that'll give us that. And then let's see, if we have gross pay equal to regular pay plus overtime pay. And then what if we take that and would it be multiply it by 100? Multiply it by 100. And then if we took that work. I just want to see something. Int that. So if I take this, multiply by 100, get the integer part of that, and then divide by 100. I wonder if that'll round it. Oops. What do I got wrong here? Not a statement expected.
Do you need an extra parenthesis around int to close it?
Which one is it? 1, 2, 3.
I mean to cast it. Do you need a closing paren?
Where at here?
Right after the end.
So I need a closing one here? No. Whoops. No. I got too many or something.
You have one extra after 100 too. After the last one you have is one extra.
Okay. That ain't gonna work. Integer.
I think you still need the closing one around int.
I put.
That should be right. You need to open and close around int.
Okay, let me see here. If I get this. Okay. Let's see if that works. I just want to test it and see, in fact, what happens here. I'm going to cut this out and type in a number. Just to test it. And what did I have here? That's not right. So if I get the int, something's wrong. Got like too many. If I do that. I need this after I do this. Do this first. Oh, if I do that first, and then let's try that. Still wrong. Well, that's weird. So here, I want to multiply that by 100, giving me 10,015. Okay. Then I want to get the integer of that. Okay. Which would be 10,015, or would cut off the number. I've done this 1,000 times. This should be plus 0.52. Plus point.
Mine's actually working.
Okay, just hang on 1 second. 0.05. So that's 0.005. Okay. Okay, so if I add 5 to that, that'll make that 1/6. Multiply it by, multiply this times 100. All right. So then I want this done first, this done second. This changed into an integer third, and then divide by 100. So why is mine not working? How come I'm not working there? Okay, you said, who said theirs is working? What do you have different?
I have pretty much what you originally put. I just got the parentheses correct. I thought I have gross pay equals open close printer on int, and then open paren reg pay plus ot pay close paren times 100 close paren divided by 100.
Yeah, but then, okay. So if I do, hang on, I know what I want to do, and I'm just not seeing what's. Okay, so is this what you have now? Hang on a second, let's see here. It's still not, it's just, I'm not getting this last. Just cutting off the,
This might completely derail what you're doing, but what I did was I only have the variables hours worked, pay rate, gross pay, net pay, FICA tax, state tax, federal tax, and then all of the constants. So I don't have like the special ones for overtime. And I just did, if it's overtime, then I just set gross pay equal to.
yeah, but you got to show overtime in that in the pay stub. So if you're not calculating them,
I calculated the overtime, and so it prints out like, so if if it's overtime, then I calculated the overtime and I said that blank worked overtime at however many hours with the gross pay of, and it calculates that overtime in there.
yeah.
And then I did else, and I just didn't put overtime in that one.
Well, but your gross pay includes overtime.
It does.
Well, again, I'm just trying to round this, and I don't know why it isn't doing it today. So here, I can do this. I'll do it this way. Regular pay plus, then we will have less to deal with overtime pay. So there's that. Now, all I need to do is round that to 2 decimal places. Okay. So gross pay should be this. Should say, I should be able to take the gross pay and multiply it by 100.
You
Okay.
said you're trying to get it down to 2 decimals, right?
Right.
If you, for the last 100, if you put 0.0, it does it down to 2 decimals.
Oh, jeez.
I was wondering what you were doing, but I wanted to wait and see.
You mean right there?
Here, let me post what I did. I used it for the gas mileage thing because it was in like the book at one point.
No, I don't want to use the F.
Hmm?
You mean in
Sure.
the print statement
No.
or
Here.
just here?
It's the very last 100. So once after you times it by 100, you divide by 100.0.
Oh, you know why? Because I have it as an integer. Here's a scenario. it thinks they're both integers. They are both
Oh.
integers. So if I just put 100 at the end and I'm dividing an integer by 100, which is an integer, it's going to do integer division. And that's why I wasn't getting anything here. So now if I do what we had, int, I knew there was some friggin' reason here, and then do this and have a 0.0 here, okay? And then I'm going to say, hang on a second. So there, I'm going to do that plus 0.005. Okay. And then take that, multiply it by 100. Put that in parentheses. Okay. And I got that, I got that. And once this whole thing is done, I want to divide it by 100.0. Okay, now let's see what happens. Okay, if I do a D there, and I work 10.125 hours, and my rate of pay is 10.23, and there's my 103.78. So here's the formula. This is an algorithm. I knew something was wrong. Algorithm to round to 2 decimal places. Because I need to take the number, raise the, so in case it's like 159, it'll make it 16. Then I want to cut off the third number, okay, which I do, okay, by doing the int. I multiply by 100, make it an int that cuts off, and then divide by 100, and you should get the right number. Yeah, what happened before is when we made the whole thing an int and then divided by 100, it said, oh, I got an integer. I want to divide by an integer, and I'll give you an integer. So I had no decimal places. Okay. So now I have the right number. Okay. So now once I have my gross pay, now I can figure all my taxes. So if we start at regular pay, overtime pay, gross pay, FICA tax is going to be equal to my gross pay times my FICA. And once again, I probably should use this here instead. Oh crap, I just put my mouse on my keypad. So this is actually going to be equal to this right here. So this will be gross pay. Or you know what? Let's do it this way. We can say gross pay times FICA. And then FICA tax is equal to Control V, and then replace this with FICA tax. And then state tax will be equal to gross pay times state. Did I make it state tax or did I just say state? state. Okay. And then again, state tax will be equal to, and replace this with state tax. One thing, so I could go ahead and use the formatted print statement, okay, and trim it there with 2 decimal places. But the problem with that is that if I was to recalculate something and I needed the number, the right number, it wouldn't be the right. All it does is it prints it out with 2 decimal places. It doesn't get rid of any remainders out there. So if you were to go to recalculate, you would get a different number, or possibly could get a different number. This way, we're actually changing the number to have only 2 decimal places. Okay. So then federal, did I type fed out or did I just say fed tax? I think it was federal tax. Is equal to, I might have just said fed tax. I did. So that's equal to that. And then it's gross pay times federal and fed tax is nothing more than this. Okay, so there's that. We got our FICA, we got our state, we got our federal. So now we just need an addition that says total, total or total deductions. To FICA tax plus state tax plus federal tax. And then I'm going to test this. You know what? I can do this quicker. Okay. So if my name is Doug, and I happen to know if I work 50 hours at $10 an hour, that's $400 for regular pay, 150, so total of $550. Okay, but I didn't print that out. But here's my FICA, my state, my federal, and my total deductions. So that'll work. So the only thing I have left then is my net pay will be equal to my gross pay minus my total deductions. And then I'm ready for my outputs. All right, so I'm going to say system.out.println line. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Okay, and then we'll say this does not have to go here. Okay, so hours worked will be a F. So we'll make it a 2%, 0.2 F slash N. Comma, hours and then slash N. Is forgot my slash N's. So this needs a slash N. so this is gross pay, I think, or no. This will be regular hours and overtime hours. So this one will be regular pay. $sign, percent sign, 0.2F /N. This one will be OT pay. $sign, 0.2F /N. Okay, and then we'll have system.out.printf gross pay. $.2F /N, comma, whoops, comma, gross pay. I think that looks okay. Let's run it and see where we're at. Should be $550 if I have it right. At 50 hours, $10 an hour, and I got something wrong under regular hours. Thought I had regular hours up here. Regular hours. Missing something here. This one's oh, that should be right. Regular hours or what? Oh, there's my problem. Regular hours is an int, and overtime hours is an int. Always little things, right? Oop, no, I really got to bungle in the jungle here. Where's it at? Hours equals. Okay. That can't be right. So, okay, I understand what I did here. These need to be double. This needs to be regular hours. This should be a 0.2F. Same thing with overtime hours because they can be parts of an hour. So I didn't have it wrong. I had it wrong in the formatting down here. Okay, so here we got Doug again. Now if we do 50 here, 10 here. Oops, what do we got? Okay, so I got 400 here. Gross pay, did something wrong here. Gross pay. Whoop, forgot my percent signs. Same thing here. Again, that's why you want to check as you go, because you'll have all these little goofy typos. 50, 10. There we go. And I know, I happen to know that that 550 down there is correct. Because if I work 40 at regular at $10 an hour, that's 410 hours at time and a half. So time and a half is take 10, so that's 15 hours at $10 an hour, 150. So together that's 550. So now it's working correctly. So what I had here, if you had what I had, is you just needed to change your regular hours and overtime to 2F from D, 0.2F, and it would work fine. All right. So now we need our deductions printed out. So system dot out dot printf. And then so first one is FICA, I believe. So $2F /N will be FICA tax. I'm not hearing anything from you guys. Are you still there?
You need a percentage sign after your dollar sign and your FICA tax.
Okay, hang on. FICA tax, dollar sign. Oops, again, I missed that percent. You're right. Okay, and then I'll need my state tax here. Dollar sign, percent sign, 0.2F /N. My comma, state tax. My system dot out dot print F. This will be my federal tax. And that's a dollar sign, percent sign, 0.2F /N. And then my total deductions. The dollar sign, percent sign, 0.2F /N, comma, total deductions. And finally, net pay will be a dollar sign, percent sign, 0.2F /N, and then a comma, net pay. And we can run that. Okay, so Doug and I worked 50 hours at $10 an hour. And that looks right to me. 397.92. We could even tweak it a little bit. So it'd be, let's see what would happen if we take and put a /T here for gross pay. Then we move total deductions out, and then we move net out. Let's see what that looks like. Does it look any better? I don't know. Maybe if we put a line under them. Might look okay. I don't know if I like that or not. Hang on. Hey, I'm in class. It has to be our 3 o'clock our time, not yours. All right. Bye, dude. Friend of mine in Florida. Okay, so I don't like those, so I'm going to just undo, 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 undo. But we could do, if we wanted to, we could put some lines in, just kind of, I don't know, maybe. Something like that, maybe. And then just copy that. See how that looks. I like that better. Could be a little longer, maybe another, I don't know, 4. I think that looks best. So, so we've ran it with 50 hours. Let's try it with 10 hours at $10.50 an hour. Whoops, what did I do? I made my name 10. Hang on, let me get rid of that. Run it again. 10 hours. Oh, geez, I did. No, I didn't. Thought I did it again. So here you can see, here's our hours. Here's our pay rate. Regular hours 10, overtime 0. Gives us $105. No overtime pay, gross pay there. There's our taxes calculated, and there's our net. So that seems to work too. So I think that's a pretty good program at this point. I'm going to go ahead and put my infamous system out here. And I'm going to put an extra line feed there and then that. And then I'm going to come down below here and put in my no code follows. then save that whole thing. Run it one more time just to make sure it runs. Okay, and then Mary worked 25 hours at $19 an hour. I don't know what that works out to, but she didn't get any overtime. And nice little ending there, and I think it looks pretty good. Again, the problem, if we look at that output here, if we don't round, okay, and then you go back in, sometimes if you don't round, what would happen here is you'd add 66 to 34 here. It wouldn't come out to 0, 0. You'd have a spare penny in here or that if you don't round these, okay? And we don't want spare pennies anywhere. So again, this algorithm works for any time you want to round to 2 places. And you can modify it, right? If you wanted to round to 3 places, then you'd go to 1,000. If you want to go down to round to the 10th place or to tenths, you'd make these tens and take 1 off of this. Okay, and you can take it even, well, you wouldn't need it for a whole number because you could just use int. But just by manipulating these values here, we can round to as many places as we want, and we don't have to worry about Java doing it for us through the math function. Any questions? Anybody's not running that typed it in?
No questions here.
Okay. So just crickets, right? That's all I'm hearing, nothing. All right.
Oh.
Huh? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's working on my end, so.
Cool. So again, would you have done it like this? That's my question. Would you have been, if I asked you just, I want a payroll stub, would you gone through and given me, this is one, I mean, this is a pretty good payroll stub, I think, except like I said, if you had other deductions, of course, or contributions that you'd had to make, but a standard payroll deduction or check. So something to think about, okay? Something to think about. And you saw I made mistakes, right? And I figured them out, and you go back, and again, the more times you run it as you're building it, the better off you are, because you can catch those errors right away, and you're not worrying about them all when you get down here to the end and the program doesn't run. Okay. All right, so I'm going to close that, or stop sharing it anyway. We're back here. Any questions?
None for me.
All right, well, that's my song and dance. So I will see you guys on Wednesday if I don't freeze to death before then. It's colder here than it is in Anchorage, Alaska. So.
All right, thank you.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Try not to freeze up till Wednesday.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
Okay,
later.
see you, Sammy.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Bye, Devin.
Bye.
I had a quick question for you.
Go ahead, man.
I tried restarting my computer and reinstalling NetBeans at least 2 or 3 times now, and nothing has been working.
Oh boy.
I'm not sure if it's my computer or NetBeans itself or just something entirely.
Did you, and so you tried to, did you remove the last installation?
I deleted every trace of NetBeans and reinstalled a fresh file.
Are you on a PC or a Mac?
Windows, PC.
Okay. So it's just not loading it, or what's happening?
So I tried to create a new project type thing,
Yeah,
and it just says the folder already exists and is not empty or something like that, and just it creates the folder but doesn't fill it with anything.
okay. I don't know if I can fix it right off the top of my head, but let's take a look. Go ahead and share your screen with me.
I can try. Like that?
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to see. Okay, so
Just
these are
just
you've got them going to your OneDrive. Okay, so let's do this. Project name, just put test or something. Okay, go to browse, and let's go to that's this PC. Go to this PC. Go to documents. NetBeans projects. Okay, so they were going there at one time anyway. Say open. All right, so now, oh, they're still going. Why did they going there? Why is your default? Let's try this. Hit browse again. Let's go to desktop this time. Okay, and then OneDrive. I don't want to click this PC.
the documents in here, maybe.
Yeah. It's still knocking us to that one.
That changes back to OneDrive.
Well, it still had us, even on the desktop, we had as a OneDrive. So go back again, go to desktop once. Let's see where you go. Or this PC, that's good. Go in this PC. And, see, file name is that. Okay, let's do knock out that file name down below.
Just delete it.
Yeah. Now click on desktop. No, up, right?
Oh, right there.
Yeah. Users desktop, OneDrive desktop. I don't know why it's doing that. You know what I'm saying? Why can't you just save to your desktop without being in OneDrive?
Do you think maybe I just have to get rid of OneDrive?
Well, no, you don't want to do that either. But why is your desktop on OneDrive? Let's go to Alex J down there. There's Alex J. Okay, and then now click on desktop. And it puts that OneDrive in there. That's just scary. Okay, let's try going back just to Alex J. Just
How would I do that?
just click on this PC again. And then try to C drive up there at the top. Okay, users. Then just Alex J. So just click on Alex J.
Yep.
Now say open. Cool. Okay, now say finish, and let's see if it'll create a folder in there. Yeah. Oh, okay. Put project location. Put project folder will be test. Test. In the project location up above, see if you can type after Alex, type test with a capital T.
After here,
Yep, slash capital T. EST test. Okay, so now you got that. Now hit finish and see if it'll let us. That is weird. That's what you're saying you're getting all the time though, right?
yeah, it just happened last night for some random reason. I was going to start working on projects and it just wouldn't let me. I can't even
Yeah, it's
open
like
any
it's
of the
jumping.
past projects either.
Yeah. Oh, let's here. Use dedicated folder for storing libraries. Try clicking. Let's go back one. All right, Java and Java application. So now go to the next. All right, and type up there, type testing. Okay.
And then finish.
Just hang on. Click, check the box for use dedicated folder. All right, and now try finish. I'll be damned. Okay, try browse again up after project location. And just try documents.
And go into it or just open from here.
Open it. Okay. Now to. Huh. That's weird, isn't it?
I tried looking on the internet just all of last night and
Yeah.
all of this morning. I couldn't find anything.
Okay. Go ahead and off click that and shut NetBeans for now. Just cancel it. Close that.
Close everything.
Yeah. Just close it.
Boop.
And then just share your screen again. Okay. Let's go to
And that's weird. Why did that appear over here?
I don't know. Well, we put it on your desktop. I don't know. But it's still not working right. We know that.
Yeah, this is the only thing that appears in there.
Yeah. So if you double click, there's nothing inside of it. Yeah, that's not right. So go ahead and close that.
Yep.
Yeah, that ain't right. Okay, close that. Go to Blackboard. All right, let's go to click that. Let's go to text and software. Click on the second one down, NetBeans, Apache. Click download for 12. Yep. Go up to let's see, where's it at? Which one do I want here? Zips. Nope. That one. Yep. And the one up at the top.
This one?
Nope. Farther up, all the way up. Yep, that one. Okay, so we got a couple minutes here until that loads. Other than this, how are things going?
I mean, the only thing that really confused me a bit from the lesson was the percent, and then you had letters after them. I'm assuming those are directives that lead to various outputs.
Which ones now?
It was like percent T or something, and then
Yeah,
percent
that
S.
percent T is tab. Percent S is that we're going to put a string in there to take that place. So those are just placeholders. Now the ones with the slashes, those are escapes. So you have a slash N and a slash T normally are the only ones I use. So one is a tab and one of them gives me a new line. The percent sign S means I'm going to put a string in there. That's the comma at the end with the variable name.
Okay.
And the percent sign point 2F means put a floating point in there and give it 2 decimal places. So that's what those mean. So each one of those you have to have a filler on the end, the argument that's going to fill that.
Okay. Yeah, I understood everything except that 0.2F
Yeah,
one.
and that's in this chapter for this week. And that just means I want a floating point with 2 decimal points. Is all that means. And then the dollar sign, of course, in front of it is just make it money, you know.
I get you.
I just wanted a dollar sign printed. A second here. Okay, double click it, yeah. And it should start running on your computer. You should be seeing like and there we go. And hopefully it won't say it's already installed. It does do that once in a while. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Want me to try to uninstall all of it again?
Yeah, let's do that. Just go over to your task manager. At least you know what you're doing. Most people I have to tell them step by step. Drives me crazy sometimes, but that's what I get paid for.
Having trouble with computers has been the past 8 years of my life.
Say yes. Go ahead and do that. Ooh, it's installing Java, so we're going to have to do that now. All right. So now go back to Blackboard.
You want me to just run that file again?
You can't run this one. You got to run the Java first because it uninstalled Java. So you got to go to that one first. You keep going down, 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 down.
Keep going? Okay.
Yep. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Where are we at here? Keep going up.
14.
There we go.
0.01, 0.02. Compressed or not?
Not. So just that one. And yeah, and then just click.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember what you had?
I'm trying to remember.
That was probably your ICC in there. I don't know what you put in. It's probably going to want your whole ICC email for your username. That's my best guess. Maybe not. I don't know. Seems to work. No, it
seems to not work.
Yeah. If you're like me, I've got like 900 friggin'.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is then. Could be this. Okay. I'm gonna try to get this sorted out and then reinstall it. And I'll keep you
Yeah.
updated on it then.
All right, just email me and we'll see what we can do.
Yep. Thank you for the help. I appreciate it.
All right, sorry about that.
Perfectly fine.